In today's video we have potentially one of the best DPSs in the game, so join me after the intro. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we have a guide on Neuvillette. He's a new 5-star character, and as everybody knows, he is also Hydro Dragon. That is the most interesting thing. So we will start as always with the talents, and when it comes to talents, yes, my Neuvillette is not upgraded at the moment, I don't have resources, but the first thing you will want to do is to upgrade his basic attacks to the maximum, because all of his damage is coming from charge attack and not from skill, not from burst. Yes, you do have some kind of damage from those two, but nothing in comparison with the charge attack. Although many players will go for triple crown, you do not really need it. You would only need the charge attack to be on maximum, and that's everything. So not the basic charge attack, but the charge attack that is scaling with HP, you know, when you charge it to the full and then you have water current coming out of your hand from Neuvillette. So yeah, that one. And there are a few more interesting things that you need to pay attention when you're playing Neuvillette, and that is that you should pick him in a team with different elements, so he can trigger some elemental reactions and get few percentages of the boost. So 160% is not small when you take in consideration that his charge attack is hitting opponents 8 times, so yeah, it's not a small thing in a long fight, so be sure to get him in a team with different elements. And the second thing is that you should keep your Neuvillette above 30% of his HP. If you don't, he will not gain his hydro damage bonus, so be careful about it when you're in combat. Now the second thing we will talk about will be his weapons, and his signature weapon is by far the best. By far the best. And there are few options that you can go for. If you are buying Battle Pass, then you have Catalyst weapon from that, and it should be the second best option if we are not taking in consideration all other 5-star weapons. So the 4-star weapon from Battle Pass should be his second option. You do have Witsit, I did try it, but it's just too big difference from his signature weapon, so I'm not sure if I should recommend it to you. But yes, Witsit is also an option. Now for the weapon that is strangely too good on Neuvillette is Prototype Ember. Yes, it is craftable, it is totally F2P friendly, and yeah, it should provide you with some amazing damage. I didn't test it yet. I'm going to upgrade it to the maximum as Witsit and his signature weapon, and then I will test it with few other weapons, and we will see which weapon and how much better of his weapons are in comparison to each other. Now the artifacts. Well, you have only two options. You can go for the new Hunter set, or you could try Heart of Depth. The new Hunter set is amazing because it's giving you 36% crit rate. I mean, Neuvillette is definitely going to have it because he's losing and gaining HP all the time when he's in combat. So after second and a half, he will have all 3 stacks because he's losing his HP every half a second. So definitely after second and a half you have the full boost of the set. Now as every other set, the 2-piece is giving you 15% on charge attack damage, so yeah, that's the second thing. I also talked about Heart of Depth, and the reason why I think it's going to be a good option too, because you're getting his charge attack damage increased by 30%, and you have hydro damage bonus that you will inevitably always do. There's no option for physical catalysts, so yeah, the Heart of Depth should be also a good set on Neuvillette, and I will try it. I'm trying to make a showcase as soon as possible, but yeah, I need some time to get materials and upgrade him. But yeah, I will definitely try him with Heart of Depth and the Hunter set. At the moment I have terrible artifacts, but his damage is surprisingly high. I mean, my Neuvillette is level 60 and just look at my artifacts. The feather is okay, and everything else besides the goblet is actually terrible. So when the time comes and I upgrade him to the maximum, I will try both sets, all the weapons we talked about, and we will see which combination is the best. Now lastly, we will talk about Constellations. I know I said that he is bad until he is C6, but there is C1 which gives you interruption resistance, and if you're not using shielder with him, then definitely this is a good option if you cannot dodge all the attacks from the enemies. Now yes, you will gain 1 stack from his passive, so you do not need to have 3 different elements, only 2, but the main reason for the C1 is interruption resistance, which is kinda big thing, you know, if you cannot dodge attacks. Now C2, although you're getting a nice boost, I don't think you really need it. It's kinda too much for C2, you know, 42% is not that impressive. C3 is kinda okay, because you're getting his charge attack even more boosted for 3 levels. It's also too far, and if you don't have money to go for it, well, you shouldn't. Now C4, if you're not going for C6, you should not go for C4. And the reason for that is because you can have a perfect rotation using him with skill and burst and 3 charge attacks. You do not need that 4th one. So if you have already perfect rotation at, I don't know, C0 or C3, then you should not go for C4. C5, it's kinda worthless because you're not getting that much damage from his burst. And C6, well, C6 is amazing on him, like few other 5-star characters that are made totally broken, and his C6 is allowing him to continuously use his water current and just fly around and collect all the orbs that are on the ground. And there are a few other things that you are gaining, and that is that his charge attack duration is going to be increased by absorbing every orb by 1 second. So that's amazing thing, definitely. And you get 2 other currents that are hitting opponents, but you're getting them every 2 seconds for a single hit, which will not deal that much damage, but it's kinda nice boost to have besides everything else. And when you take a look at C6, now C4 makes sense. Before that, C4 does not make sense, because, as I said, if you have already a perfect rotation, you do not really need it. So do not bother going for it unless you are going for C6. The last thing that we will talk about now, after you saw my artifacts, and yes, they are terrible as I said, but something impressive with Hunter set is that although I have only 22% crit rate, I'm critting because Hunter set is giving me 36% crit rate. Although it's still low for crit rate, I'm still critting almost every time, so that's impressive, definitely. And when it comes to crit damage, yes, my Neuvillette is level 60, his weapon is not on maximum, and once again, artifacts are terrible, and still he's at 246% crit damage. That's just amazing. When it comes to energy recharge, you do not really need too much. 120 I think it's going to be enough, so do not bother about it that much. If you have another Hydro character in a team, I'm definitely sure it's going to work perfectly, because he's gaining a lot, and when I say a lot, I really mean a lot of particles. And 46% Hydro damage bonus from his goblet, and yeah, that's everything from his stats. You could try go for some kind of elemental mastery build also, but I do not recommend it. I do not think it's going to be worth it. So yeah, you do not need elemental mastery. It just happens that I have 84, but that's not the main priority. So yeah, that's everything from this video. I hope you enjoyed this guide. If you have, leave a like on the video, and I will see you in the next one.